Come, all ye valiant soldiers, a story I will tell about the bloody battle that was fought on Shiloh Hill. It was an awful struggle and will cause your blood to chill. It was the famous battle that was fought on Shiloh Hill.
Hello everybody and welcome to the American Civil War Gaming Club's YouTube channel. This is part 1 of our series of tutorial videos on John Tiller Software's Civil War campaign games. In this part, we will start by going over the different 3-dimensional and 2-dimensional ways that you can view the battlefield maps. We will also discuss how you can use map labels to quickly and easily identify both historical points of interest and geographic locations on the map. I will also hit upon a few other topics regarding the maps, which are useful to know as well. Enough talk though. Let's get started by heading out west to the battlefield of Shiloh. As I mentioned, there are 2 different ways that you can look at the battlefield map, 3-dimensional and 2-dimensional. We will start by looking at the different 3-dimensional views of the battlefield that you can use. Usually there are units on the maps, but for this video I have removed them so we can just concentrate on the map itself. Right now, we are looking at the battlefield using the 3-dimensional normal view of the battlefield. From this vantage point, you can easily identify different geographic features on the field, such as woods, streams, and marshes. Because it is so zoomed in, it does make it difficult to see much beyond the immediate area, and this view is not the ideal one when engaged in a larger battle. By coming up here to the View drop-down menu, we can easily change our vantage point. Let's select the 3-dimensional zoom-out view instead. By doing that, you can see that more of the battlefield is now revealed. This view would make it much easier to conduct large-scale operations while still allowing you to easily identify different features on the map. With 3D maps, there are 2 different overlay options that you can use. The first option is the hand-drawn 3D map, which is the one that we are currently using. You can come up here to the Settings menu and deselect Hand-Drawn 3D Map if you would like to. This will bring up the old-school 1990s looking map. Personally, I love this version. I grew up in the 90s, so for me it is like going back to the days of Windows 95, Nirvana, and all things 1990s. But it does look very pixelated and does not show very well on YouTube, so I'm going to go back to using the hand-drawn 3D map instead. To switch back, I just go back up here to the settings, and there we go. We have spent some time going over the different 3-dimensional maps, so now let's look at the 2-dimensional map options. By coming back up here to the View drop-down menu, we can select the 2-dimensional normal view. We are now looking directly down on the map from the top, much like a traditional tabletop board game. If you are someone who enjoys tabletop wargaming, or board games in general, then this view may appeal to you more. There are 3 different zoom levels which you can use with the 2-dimensional maps. By returning to the View menu, we can select the 2-dimensional zoom out view, and you will notice how much more of the map we can see all at once than we previously could with the 3D maps. This is much more ideal for planning large strategic maneuvers, as it allows you to see more features at once. Lastly, you can change to the 2-dimensional extreme zoom-out view. Now you can see nearly the entire map, from the Tennessee River in the east to the western edge of the map. This view, again, allows you to plan more grand operations than you could with the zoomed-in views. To change viewpoints, you can use the View drop-down menu, as I was doing, or, much more easily, just use the rolling center mouse wheel to scroll between the different views. Just like this. Let us now zoom back to the 3-dimensional zoom-out view. We will now go over how you can add labels to the map so you know exactly what you are looking at. To do that, you would come up here to the View drop-down menu and select Map Labels. You will now see that the map is dotted with different labels pinpointing places of interest at the Battle of Shiloh. Speaking of Shiloh, you can see Shiloh Church front and center right here. If these labels are a bit too obtrusive for you, then you have the option to use a different set of labels altogether. If you come up here to the settings, you can move down to the alternative labels option and click on that. Doing so will alter the labels and make them see-through. That will make it much easier to leave the labels in place, should you choose to, while fighting the battle. Another useful feature that you can use is located up here on the toolbar and also in the drop-down menu under View. This is Map Contours. Looking at the map, it can be difficult to make out elevation changes, so this tool highlights the contour lines for you. You can now easily see where ridges and hills exist across the map. I will click on this a few times here, and you will see the different contour lines light up and then turn back off. Let's leave both the labels and the contour lines on for the moment. During an actual game, this bottom area of the map here, known as the hex information area, is probably the most used tool and reference area in the game. But there are still times you might like to see more of the map. You can hide this information area and view the map in full screen by coming up here to the toolbar and clicking on this tab. You will see the hex information area has now been removed, and you can see a lot more of the map than you could a moment ago. This is great when you are simply trying to study the field of battle and map out a general plan of action. To bring back the hex information box, you just come back up here and click on the toggle button, and there you go. We will use our mouse wheel now to switch over to the two-dimensional map again. Each map is made up of hundreds, if not thousands, of individual hexagons as shown by the flashing white hexagon symbol here. Each hex has a numerical location based on an XY grid. Water Oaks Pond is located at 2842, which you can see down here at the bottom right. Just so you are aware, you can come up here to the View menu again and click on Map Coordinates. And the game will give you an overlay to show you each hex's coordinates. If you wanted to find the 00 starting hex, you would just come up here to the northwest corner of the map, and you will see the coordinates are 00. This has nothing to do with the gameplay, but knowing that the map is configured using a numbered grid is good to know for future reference and to find a specific point on the map if you ever needed to. If you have a hard time making out the dimensions of the individual hexes on the map, you can come up here to View and select Hex Outlines. Doing so will put an outline around each hex on the map, making them a little easier to identify, as you can see. In case you are curious, each hex on the map corresponds to roughly 125 yards. 14 hexes represents about a mile of terrain. For now, let's go ahead and turn back off these coordinates and also the outlines. If you come up here to this area, this is known as the toolbar. You can change the settings for this as well by going to the Settings drop-down menu. Right now, I am using the Classic Large toolbar as it makes it easier to show you what I am doing here. When I actually play the games, I use the Classic Small toolbar, but that's just me. There are numerous other options to explore here based on your personal preferences and how you like to view the game and the overlay. But I will keep using the Classic Large toolbar for these videos. To navigate across the map, you have a few different options. You can move your mouse to one side of the screen, and the map will automatically scroll in that direction. But on larger maps, this takes far too long and does not give you a full view of the battlefield all at once. The quickest and easiest way to navigate the map and to see the entire thing at once is by using the Jump Map feature available here on the toolbar. By clicking here, you will bring up an overhead view of the entire battlefield map of Shiloh. By clicking around on the overhead map, I can instantly jump to any location on the map. Here I am at Pittsburgh Landing, and now I am back at Shiloh Church. In larger scenarios with maps which stretch for miles, this is especially useful. I hope you have enjoyed Part 1 of the American Civil War Gaming Club's Introduction to John Tiller Software's Civil War series. I think by now you should have a fairly good idea of how the maps work in both the three-dimensional and two-dimensional sense, and the different ways that they can be viewed. Don't forget that map labels will greatly help you in determining your location on the map, and also point out names of geographic features, roads, and different points of interest. In Part 2, we will see the map get filled with tens of thousands of men as the armies prepare to do battle at Shiloh. We will discuss the ways that you can view the different organizations easily on the map using the tools the game gives you. Further, we will look at how you can see the strengths of different organizations and how to find out just how many men are on the battlefield at any given time. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications of future videos from the American Civil War Gaming Club. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in Part 2.